Now
on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
And it's 7:07 as we launch into the second half of O'Connor and Company this Tuesday morning, 1 week from Election Day. Coming up at 8:05, Tom Homan, former director of ICE. He will be part of President Trump's reinvigoration efforts on border security and immigration policy. And for his efforts, he was completely slandered, defamed, and taken out of context on 60 Minutes this weekend. He sat for 2 hours, and they narrowed it down to a, 7-minute segment or something?
13-minute, I think you said, yeah.
We will hear from Tom Homan and see if he's interested in suing CBS News as well, as everyone else should these days. That's Julie Gunlock. I am Larry O'Connor, and what a world we live in, Julie.
What a time to be alive.
Comma, the old thing about America is that people always say anybody can grow up to be president. And, it's true, technically, theoretically. But, we always sort of recognize the fact that, yes, anyone can be president. But, you have to be somewhat accomplished in your field, whether, like Donald Trump, first person to ever become president without actually either running for office before holding elected office or being a general in the military, right? Everyone else before him, either a general in the military or held elected office somewhere else. But he was, a tycoon and an accomplished businessman, real estate developer, public personality. Before that, listen, you look at presidents and they all have accomplished certain things. But I got to tell you, this year, it should really bring hope to every single person in this country that somebody as unimpressive, unaccomplished, and frankly, imbecilic as Kamala Harris can actually come this close to being the president of the United States. It's really saying something. It really is. I mean,
in the past, you had to have a couple brain cells to rub together to be... Right. She appears to have none. There is no signs of intelligent life.
And she seems proud of it because she keeps putting it on display every single day for us. There's a new round of word salads or stupid things that she's done or super cringy moments that are like right out of The Office. It's like she's the female Michael Scott or
Veep. Out of Veep.
So here's the latest. We got a few here for you just from the last 24 hours. But this might be the best. She's at a rally. By the way, they've gone for a rebranding again. What their colors on their signs have always been sort of the light blue thing, right? With Harris Walls, where maybe they've got they throw out some signs there that, reflect the state that they're in. Arizona, vote Arizona, that sort of thing. Yeah. But it's all sort of a off blue, sort of the Obama blue, sort of the baby powder blue thing that they've been doing. Well, at this rally, I guess somebody said, well, we got to rebrand. We got a new look. It's like reinventing Coke. They're all flashing black and orange signs for some reason. Is this a Halloween thing?
Must be.
I don't know. They've all got orange signs with black letters that say vote or black signs with orange letters. Maybe was this a college campus where there was those are the school colors or something?
Maybe.
I honestly, I have no idea. The only school I know that has colors like that is Oklahoma State, and I don't think she was campaigning in Oklahoma. Anyway, the point is they're all chanting her name, and then she has this really bright idea. She's so spontaneous. She really thinks on her feet.
Yeah.
Listen to this moment, cut 17.
Do that. Because it's about all of us. It's about all of us. And listen.
Oh, my God. Nobody knew what to do.
She's like, it's a great political moment. You got this big crowd and they're chanting your name in rhythm. And it's like, And she's like, I got a good idea. All right, now everybody shout your own name. And
you know what it's like? It's like one of those office birthday parties. So one of those big office birthday parties when you're singing happy birthday. And then it gets to the name and everyone's like, happy birthday to
Right. Or at Red Robin, where the waiters do that.
Right.
All the waiters get around the table. Happy birthday,
you
kiddo. You all right? That's exactly what it was. Oh, I got to hear it again. Let's hear it one more time. Now everybody shout your name.
all of us.
Oh, that horrible, awkward, uncomfortable silence.
But honestly, she's cackling. She doesn't pick up on the awkward. This is the thing about her.
She thinks it was
doesn't
fabulous.
This is why she does stuff like this, because she doesn't have a very high EQ. And I say EQ, kind of being able to relate to people, being able to kind of sense social cues. She is a dummy when it comes to, sort of that the EQ. She just doesn't have any sense of that.
The problem is that the dummy's going to get us killed.
Yeah.
And get our children killed and get possibly herself maimed or injured. She's touring a semiconductor factory. She sees an area where there's a bunch of polysilicon rods laying there underneath some plastic. And so take a listen to her bright idea.
Here is actually a harvested U-rod where we actually do grow it. So this is what it looks like when it comes out of our process of that. Do not touch it.
Do not.
Yes.
I'm glad
Please do not touch any of the
And I won't touch
very
it.
sharp. Those are very sharp. Yeah,
Okay.
very sharp.
Okay,
So
and shiny.
with that being
Did you?
Oh my God. Oh,
So can I
these are
touch
very
it? No,
sharp.
do not touch it. It's
Do
very
not touch
sharp.
it.
Oh, and shiny.
Shiny.
It's shiny too.
Oh my
By the way,
God.
strangely, so this is kind of nice because, politicians always get nostalgic, and here we are a week before the election. Obviously, Kamala Harris is going back to her roots, her instincts, where her political career began, because my understanding is she got her first opportunity to really advance politically in San Francisco with those same words. She said to another politician, "Can I touch it?" And then that
Larry!
led to a... Anyway, also, then there's this. After the tour of the semiconductor lab, we had a great word salad moment. Take a listen to the stirring and inspiring words of your next president, Kamala Harris. Take a listen.
I think that when we understand who we are as a nation, we take great pride in being a leader on so many things. And we have a tradition of that. But I think what we know as Americans is that we cannot rest on tradition. We have to constantly be on top of what is happening, what is current, and investing in the industries of the future, as well as honoring the traditions and the industries that have built up America's economy. And what you all are doing here
there's more.
is exactly that. First of all, we talked about the fact that the people who are doing this extraordinary work here, the workers here, you're doing work that requires an incredibly high level of skill. As I listen to it, it's about engineering. There's a technology piece to this. There's a chemistry piece to this. There is math to this. And it's just, you do robots, for God's sake.
Apparently, Julie, when you're
so doomed.
making semiconductors, there's engineering and
math.
technology and math involved in the process. Yes. But again, the stirring and inspiring words. May I quote are honestly the greatest living intellect that we have ever had the privilege of following on a daily basis, Kamala Harris, quoting, "When we understand who we are as a nation, we take great pride in being a leader on so many things, and we have a tradition of that. But I think what we know as Americans is what we cannot rest on tradition. We have to constantly be on top of what is happening." Ladies and gentlemen, ask not what she can do for your country.
It's positively Jeffersonian.
Yeah. It's 7:50. We've got more of Kamala on the trail yesterday, more awkward moments, more reasons to do whatever you can to take off your shoes and socks and walk barefoot over that broken glass and then a field of hot coals to get to the polling place, because we cannot endure this. More of Kamala on the campaign trail coming up in just a moment. First, though, it's 7:15.
News is brought to you by Baird Financial.
Trump really should have Willie Brown at his next rally. That would be fantastic. What a troll. All right. So everyone's talking about the Joe Rogan podcast. Donald Trump going on Joe Rogan, over 40 million views. By the way, YouTube is like sequestering people's ability to search for this thing. They're already starting to mess with us. But even despite that, it's been seen over 40 million or more. Spotify downloads, I haven't gotten the number on that yet. It's insane. So Kamala Harris, of course, didn't have time to go on the Joe Rogan podcast, but she found time to sit with Shannon Sharpe. Now, Shannon Sharpe is a former football player. He was on ESPN, but I think he just got fired from ESPN. He's got a podcast. It's relatively popular. It's sponsored by DraftKings. You can go bet on football games. It's usually sports-oriented, but he delves into pop culture and politics. And it's Shannon Sharpe. So, okay. Here's a little bit of the first, let's start with one of the hard-hitting questions Shannon Sharpe asked Kamala Harris. Here's cut 25, if we could. tough questions from the former tight end.
So breakfast. What does Madam VP eat for breakfast, or do you have time to, or is it on the go?
No, I when I was younger, I didn't think I needed breakfast. I wasn't a breakfast eater.
Okay.
Now I have breakfast every morning. It's usually a spinach omelet. It's not very exciting.
Right.
But it's protein with a little vegetable. And, I like chicken, apple sausage, and some toast, and then I'm gone.
Why is that funny?
I don't know.
A spinach omelet.
It's hilarious.
Why is that funny?
Also, does it get any more San Francisco elite?
I know.
A spinach omelet and
with
chicken and apple sausage.
Chicken and apple. Don't forget the apple. Yeah.
Oh.
So ridiculous. But also the cackling. Why is that funny? Just say I get a spinach omelet and.
All right. Then they turned. Obviously, the reason that she went on the Shannon Sharp podcast is to shore up support with black voters, black men in particular. Cut 20. Kamala Harris's message to black men.
So, part of what we have to help people understand is don't think you're in Donald Trump's club. You're not.
Right.
Accent.
He's not going to be thinking about you. You think he's having you over for dinner?
So she went ebonics on him.
Yeah, she did a little
You're not in Donald Trump's club. You think he had you over dinner, man?
You think he's thinking about you?
Seriously?
Yeah, what is that?
It's so insulting,
It's
so condescending.
It's her Canadian accent, Larry.
That's the Montreal, the Quebecois coming through there.
It comes out when she gets mad.
Quebecois ebonics. Cut 26. She's challenged on the lack of support. And by the way, this isn't about Barack Obama and all these commentators are trying to lecture black men saying that they're not voting for her because she's a black woman and they're sexist and they're misogynist. What they're not pointing out is it's not that they're not voting for Kamala Harris. It's that they are voting for Donald Trump.
That's right.
That's what they don't want to face.
Right.
And so now that's what they're trying to address. That's why she said, oh, no, he's not having you over for dinner because he's racist. He hates you. You're not allowed to be in his club, even though he's constantly surrounded by black athletes, black rappers, black boxers, black fighters, black men. Cut 26, the elephant in the room is addressed.
Blacks for Trump. Mm-hmm. They feel that Trump is better for the black community. Can you explain Donald Trump's history with blacks? Where did this come that all of a sudden, I mean, it's been like this because a lot of people used to say, I'm Donald Trump of the ghetto because he was, for a lot of blacks, not all, but for some blacks, he was, Madam VP, whether we want to admit it or not, he's revered by some blacks.
But here's the thing. The question for everybody, should he be president of the United States?
Okay.
Right? That's the question. Should he have the ability to sit behind the seal of the President of the United States when he says he wants to terminate the Constitution of the United States? You know what that would mean? In the Constitution of the United States is your Fourth Amendment right against unreasonable search and seizure.
Listen to the voice.
Your Fifth Amendment right. Your Sixth Amendment right to an attorney.
Well, a lot of rights going to be gone. The First Amendment.
But the First Amendment, the Second Amendment. Yes. Look, I'm in favor of the Second Amendment. I don't believe we should be taking anybody's guns away.
Right.
No. It's funny, and that's the only one that she decides to pick out there. What's interesting to me is it's like most voters, I have more respect for the intelligence of the black voters that she's trying to communicate to, and I'm guessing that they listen to that, they see that, and they think, wait a minute, wasn't he just president? And he didn't do any of that. He didn't take our rights away. And things were, why are you telling us all these things he's going to do when he's president when we literally just lived through 4 years of him as president? Right. If he's Hitler, why didn't he do any of the Hitler things?
Also, my life was better when he was president. She acts like we all have collective amnesia, that we don't remember what it was like before she and Biden came into office.
A very interesting point that she doesn't make that case. She never makes that case. That things were worse for him under him with his policies and things were better for me, because she can't make that case. So the entire case is, Hitler, fascist. All right. And she couldn't help a little word salad from popping up in the conversation with Shannon Sharp. Now, let's see if the word salad actually has the little sort of inner city ghetto accent that goes along with it. Cut 27.
And we stand then in that path, knowing that we also have the honor and the duty of excelling in every way possible, being able to see what is possible and not be burdened by other people's limited ability to see the same.
Oh, she came so close to the see what's possible, unburdened by what has been. Yes. Oh, she just can't help herself. She went right back to the wheelhouse.
Yeah.
There's your, well, again, like I said, everybody, after hearing that, I hope you're taking off the shoes and socks and you're working on your calluses so you can walk across that broken glass to get to the election day, because we cannot have that for 4 years. 7:23.
Now
on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 7:36, friends, and coming up at 8:05, we've got Tom Homan joining us, who will be a big part of the incoming Trump administration should he win next week with regard to border security, immigration, law enforcement, and yes, deportation. And he says that 60 Minutes completely hacked up the interview he just gave them, so we'll get to all of that coming up then. And when I say we, I mean me and she right there, Julie Gunlock. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
Joining us right now is a young man we've gotten to know quite a bit this year, from the primary process and now to the general election and now the final home stretch. He is, of course, a former Green Beret. He is a combat war veteran, and he is the Republican nominee for Congress in District 7. He is Derrick Anderson. Mr. Anderson, well, you made it. You're a little boy from Spotsylvania, and you're now a week away. How's it feel?
Who would have thought it, Larry? Thanks to you and Julie along the way for giving me the opportunity to talk to your listeners. And we are 1 week out. This is going to be a tight race, but we're putting in all the work on the ground. It's amazing. I'm a guy from Spotsylvania County, and we're a week out from being able to flip a congressional seat. Is amazing, Larry. So
And Derrick, what I find fascinating, just as an observer of politics and sort of analyzing the strategies that people employ, I got to say, I'm kind of surprised that your opponent, Mr. Vindman, the Democrat nominee, he's not talking, it appears to me, he's not actually communicating to voters about what matters most to them in the district and explaining how he's going to represent them. He's not even running against you. He's running against Trump. He's running against the Dobbs decision, and he's running against Project 2025. And I maybe it'll work, but are you hearing from voters when you go and talk to voters? Are they saying, "Yeah, Derrick, we're really concerned about Project 2025"?
Larry, I mean, this is a problem here, right? My opponent, his name is Vindman. He's focused on his past. He's focused on his revenge tour with President Trump and doubling down on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's failed policies, while we're focused on the future. We're focused on making life more affordable for people in the 7th Congressional District, my hometown where I grew up working in my mom's restaurants, making our community safer, taking care of our veterans. And my opponent, what's fascinating is he not only lies about me and my positions where I stand, but he lies about himself, right? He's lied about his military record time and time again. He lied about his rank. He lied about his time overseas, saying that he used weapons of war in combat when he didn't. Look, Larry, you're not going to out-army me, right? I'm a former Green Beret with 6 deployments, including Iraq and Afghanistan. Like, come on now. And, so if he's willing to lie about this, what else is he willing to lie about to the people of the 7th? So that's why this race is so important. All roads to the House majority run through here. We're being outspent, Larry. I'm sure you guys have seen it. Yeah. But he's outspending us 10, 11 to 1. But guess what? We're still tied. This is like a boxing match where it's the 8th and 9th round. We've been getting hit over and over again, and now we're starting to hit back. But I need everyone's help, everyone in the district, to get out and vote. If folks want to go to my website, DerrickAnderson.com, that's DerrickAnderson.com, to sign up, help us out, contribute. Every dollar counts going through these last few days.
Well,
Julie, I want Julie in here, but real fast, because you just said they're being outspent. I just want to make, because we got to be fair and balanced here. You're only being outspent with California money.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yes, exactly.
Oh, were you? I'm sorry. If you actually look at money from Virginia, Derrick, you are outspending him, to be fair, because he hasn't raised any money here. It's all California.
Yes,
right,
exactly.
Sorry,
but I'll move on. But there was a New York Post article the other day that said that Eugene Vindman won't answer questions about the business he started after 14 taxpayer-funded trips to Ukraine. Since then, that was just a couple days ago. Has there been any statement, or have you been able to figure out what did he do and what was this business all about?
I mean, the short answer is no, but that's pretty par for the course with him and his campaign, right? We've asked him whether it was him debating or whether or not the military lies that he's had, or about this. What's interesting about this is that we're seeing money being sent over to Ukraine, where we see, Ukrainians dying every single day. And what it appears is that my opponent has been making money off of that. So this is quite honestly pretty revealing of the kind of person. This goes to character, goes to truthfulness. It goes to the kind of person that appears to just want power, right? You heard Larry talk about it in the beginning. He lies about me, lies about himself. It seems that he's maybe more worried about himself and getting power than he is the people here in the 7th Congressional District.
Derrick Anderson's our guest. He's the candidate for Congress in the 7th District. 7 and 10 in Virginia are obviously high-profile races, attracting a lot of money, as has been mentioned here. And Derrick, I'd love for you to take this last minute or so and sort of summarize exactly what you've learned from voters. I know that you've been going door to door. This has been, good old-fashioned retail politics. And one thing I've noticed from your social media presence is that you're constantly talking about what you're learning, what the voters are telling you. That's what representative democracy is all about. You're supposed to learn from them and take all of that to Congress to represent their interests. So what is it they're telling you? What do they want you to do when you go to Congress for them?
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly simple, Larry. I mean, I find it a fairly simple concept. I was at the early voting locations yesterday, and, I talked to, 100 to 150 people, and every single person, when they say, Derrick, what are you going to do for me? Or they say, here's my number one issue, is their pocketbooks and their wallets, Larry. That's what people want right now. They want common sense policies that are going to make it more affordable for them to live. That's the bottom line. They want to make their communities safe. And my final message to folks is, look, you have a stark contrast this next week when you go to the voting booth or you go early vote because we have early voting from now until Saturday. And I'm hoping that folks have seen that I'm a guy from Spotsylvania County who grew up working in his mom's restaurants cooking. I was the first person in my family to graduate from college before serving my country for over a decade to Iraq and Afghanistan, managed to earn my law degree. So I am truly the American dream. And I don't get to go to Washington, D.C. and make silly decisions because my mom and my family, my cousins, they all live in my district. So they will find me. They know where I'm at, and they will hold me accountable. And I think more than ever, that's what people want. They want accountability and someone who's going to actually go up to Washington, D.C. and work for them. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm super excited about not only having the opportunity of being the next congressman here in Virginia and the Commonwealth, but being able to represent the people that raised me and I grew up with.
You've campaigned with the kind of dignity and honor that I think would be expected from a Green Beret and a combat war veteran from the United States Army, but sadly we don't always see it, if I may say. So it's refreshing, and you're an impressive man, win or lose. But I got to tell you, the tide is turned, and I think it's all about winning at this point, since this is, honestly, with the money that they're talking about and the media monopoly that they have in this area, they should be 10 points ahead. The fact that this is a toss-up right now, I think bodes well for your campaign, and I know that you've worked hard for it. So good luck in this final week, Derrick Anderson.
Best of luck.
Thanks, Larry and Julie. Appreciate you guys.
Come on, guys.
I know. He's so great.
I hate to sound like Hillary Clinton, but why aren't I 15 points ahead right now? Seriously.
Later this morning on the Chris Plant Show, U.S. intelligence warns of major threat to our 2024 election. They were the threat in 2020. 9 a.m. on WMAL.
Well, let me tell you something, Trump-a-maniacs. Welcome to the house that Hulkamania built.
That house, of course, Madison Square Garden, and it's true. I saw WrestleMania at Madison Square Garden back in the 80s. And Hulk was there, and Andre the Giant. It was great. Who knew that I was really actually celebrating the Fuhrer and the Third Reich? Because someone needs to let Hulk Hogan know that that was not the house that Hulkamania built. It's the house that the Nazis built. It's Madison Square Garden, after all. The meltdown continued yesterday, and we're going to play a little bit of it for you. I just want to remind everybody, though, because I mentioned this yesterday, the Madison Square Garden, where this rally took place, was built in 1968. They keep talking about in this very arena in 1939. No, there's been 4 different buildings called Madison Square Garden. The first one was built, say it with me, on Madison Square, down on 23rd Street. in Broadway. All right, the one where the Nazis marched, and I'm guessing mostly Democrats marched along with them back in '39. That was on like 59th Street and 8th Avenue, a completely different building. It just this happens to be called Madison Square Garden. It's ridiculous. And of course, George Bush and Bill Clinton both got their their party's nominations in this building as they were having their political convention. So it's just stupid. It's stupid, and it's moronic. But they keep doing it. Here's cut 31. This is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on Morning Joe yesterday.
This was a hate rally. This was not just a presidential rally. This was also not just a campaign rally. I think it's very important for people to understand that these are mini January 6th rallies.
There we go.
These are mini Stop the Steal rallies. These are rallies to prime an electorate into rejecting the results of an election if it doesn't go the way that they want.
Enough for her. Cut 30. Listen to MSNBC reporting, and I'm using Chris Plant quotation marks with my fingers, reporting on the rally.
But that jamboree happening right now, you see it there on your screen, in that place is particularly chilling. Because in 1939, more than 20,000 supporters of a different fascist leader, Adolf Hitler, packed the garden for a so-called pro-America rally. A rally where speakers voiced anti-Semitic rhetoric from a stage draped with Nazi banners.
So all these comparisons and allusions, these ahistorical comparisons and allusions to Nazis, how is NBC News and that person, Jonathan Capehart, not susceptible for a defamation lawsuit from any one of the Americans who went to that rally? Imagine posting, you post on your Facebook, I just went to this rally for the Republican nominee. You know, the guy who right now enjoys over 50% support of the nation. I was there at the rally. You put that on your Facebook, and your friends see that, and they just learned from NBC News that it was really a Nazi hate fest.
Yeah.
So aren't they slandering and defaming people, innocent Americans who went there?
Yeah, they are, and they're trying to shame people into voting for Kamala. They're trying to it's sort of connect people. If you vote for Trump, then you're a Nazi. You support Nazis.
Obviously,
I mean, honestly, the hyperbole in this country is off the charts, and it really does scare me, because I think to someone who's not mentally well, they hear this, and who knows what they're going to do to stop this. I mean, Nicole
100%.
Wallace last night said the stakes literally are life and death for every woman in America.
For every woman, yes.
That's insane.
In other words, the wrong person wins, then every woman is in danger of death. Because of the election. Nicole Wallace and Kamala Harris and everybody in between needs to be challenged now by people and asked specifically, if you truly believe this, then what length will you go to keep Donald Trump from being sworn in should he win this election? You know what? I don't want to leave this on a bad note. So cut 34 here. Let's go back to Hulkamania where we began, because this will make us feel better.
You know something, Trump maniacs? I don't see no stinking Nazis in here. I don't see no stinking domestic terrorists in here. The only thing I see in here are a bunch of hard-working men and women that are real Americans, brother.
You know what? I got to do one more. Cut 33. Cut 33. More Hulkamania.
You know something? Usually when I'm in Madison Square Garden, I'm body slamming giants. I'm winning world heavyweight titles, and I'm cracking people over the heads with steel chairs. And the energy in Madison Square Garden is off the Richter scale. But today, Trumpomaniacs, the energy in here is something like I've never felt. The energy of all these Trumpomaniacs is the most powerful force in the universe. And today, this is Donald Trump's house, brother.
It's 7:55.